Eric Stufston is hilarious. We had mini lectures and we give them a little few points. NCAT will tell you, give points for everything, okay? Give points for everything, and that'll help to get the students to actually do it. So we give points for our mini lectures. Not many. It's like 1/10 of 1% of their grade. But if you give some points, they'll go. So this guy's hilarious. At the end of last semester, he had double coupon week. He goes, I'm having double coupon week. My students are coming in like, oh, I got 5 mini lecture cards. All right, that's 50 points. Way to go. But doing stuff like that positively makes all the difference in the world to the students. It really does. This is Azar. Last year, we had 500 additional students at Chattanooga State in developmental math alone. We went straight to the Emporium model, and 2 weeks in, things were getting a little better. And she comes up to me and she goes, you know, John, I just want you to know, things are going much better. She said, but I think the key to the whole thing was you made us work in the lab. She goes, so I just want to say thank you. Because one of the things that had gone on at Chattanooga State, the faculty were working in the lab 2 hours a week, if they wanted to. Now they have to work in the lab as part of their duties, okay? That's just the way it is. If you set up a redesign like this, where's the math department? It's the lab. That's where all the action takes place. That's where 99% of the things are going on. At Cleveland State, before redesign, if you asked where the math department is, they would have pointed you over to a bunch of offices where we all sat around. Now you ask where the math lab is, they point you to the second floor of the administration building where the math lab is. All right? We are taking this, yep, go ahead. That's fine.
You said there were complaints from students at the beginning.
Oh, absolutely.
What was the nature? Was it the technology, or was it having to work on their own, or what?
It's a combination thereof. Number one, when I was faced with 500, and that's an excellent question. Her question was, what were the nature of the complaints? There were several as far as the type. But primarily, when you break down the system and you start expecting students to work and you make that shift and you say, listen, I'm here to help, but you have to do the work. That's very uncomfortable for some of them. Okay? They aren't used to that. But also, quite frankly, some of the complaints last fall were about the quality of the program. Okay? And quite frankly, I had to agree with them. And you know what I tell them? Please be patient. I'm trying. We're building. You know, we're under construction. We'll get there. You know, and then we saw some vast improvement in the spring. Then we saw a whole bunch more improvement this fall. But it takes time to build the program. I didn't have that time at Chattanooga State. At Cleveland State, I had a full year to sit around and do all the details and get all the courses planned out and all that stuff. At Chattanooga State, I had 1 day. So I had to make the best of it and go with it. But then we started building. And we redid the courses. Then we started offering the mini lectures. The mini lectures, to be honest with you, were just a huge factor in adjustment. Because students will say, I still need a teacher. First of all, you have one. I'm right here helping you, you know. What they mean is they need a lecture. Fine. Here's a lecture. When do you want one? But it's a mini lecture. It's not a put you to sleep for over an hour and you're disengaged and pretty soon you're going. No, it's 20 minutes. You can focus for that long. You can get the overview. You can start on it. Then you can get back to work. Stuff like that helps a lot. So it was both. It was both those factors. You redesign, I always say, it's not just about sticking them in front of a computer. You also have to have a quality program for them to engage in. Okay? Good question, though. So we're introducing this in high schools. We're using this hybrid approach to expand early college. And again, we do, sometimes it depends on the school. Sometimes they do a lecture lab combo. Sometimes they do all lab. Early college has a lot of staffing challenges associated with it, and this solves those. Consistency. You know, one thing about course redesign, you get everybody on the same page. And I don't have any adjuncts right now out there or early college instructors where I have no idea what's going on, which happens sometimes, unfortunately. Retention and graduation. Look at this for early college. 98% of early college students either graduate or are still attending college 5 years later, versus 16% if they don't enroll in early college. All right, we're about done. I want to leave you with some thoughts. To me, here's what I think redesign is all about. Number one, increasing student engagement. Students don't learn anything if they don't do anything. That's the bottom line. Number two, individual assistance. Those struggling students, you can plug in and get them the help they need. That's the key, especially in developmental studies. Number three, you've got to provide a cafeteria of resources. You know, quite frankly, learning styles is something that we all talk about, but very few people do anything about it. In fact, most people, what they do is this. I'm going to take an inventory of learning styles on the first day of class, and then I'm going to lecture the whole semester, right? But course redesign can help address those learning styles. You give them the resources and you give them some direction and you let them choose how they learn best. You want to look at a Word doc? Some people like reading. You want to watch a video? You want to do a Word document? You want to do a mini lecture? Set up those choices for them. Accelerated learning. Don't hold them back. If you've got students learning and working, don't stop them. Flexibility. Let's face it, society has changed. We are technologically saturated, but we're also distracted, right? And I'm not sure we're going back on that one. Learning community. I love this. I was teaching last spring, and I had a struggling student right here, and he is working hard on this basic math topic. And I sat down by him, and I said, at the end of my little presentation to him, I said, he worked through it, and I said, okay, you got it? You know what he said? No. I said, okay, let's try it again. Explained it to him just a slightly different way. Worked through it again. Okay, you got it? To be honest with you, Mr. Squires, no. All right, that's okay. About that time, an older gentleman who was just flying through the course scoots his chair over. He's almost done with the course. He is flying through. He's doing great. He scoots his chair over. He goes, well, let's sit here and work on it together. And I didn't have a problem with that. We all sat there and worked. And I said one thing, and then the student who was struggling said another thing, and then the other student said another thing. About 15 minutes later, the light bulb went on. He goes, okay, I think I got it. Compare that to a lecture where I had an adjunct faculty member, and we've all probably done this at one time. She walked in my office, she goes, you know, I've been having trouble with this class, and some of them finally asked a question, and after 4 times, I had to tell them, sorry, I've got to move on because I've got to cover the material. But the students were lost, okay? Learning community, students helping students. This is great to see. All right. Here's what redesign comes down to for me. Students like Lakeisha. I wasn't going to include this, but I was sitting in my office yesterday, and I was writing some stuff, and I got on the phone with somebody because we were writing this application. And the application asked for examples of transformation. And I got on the phone, and I talked to the person who I was working with on this application, and I said, what are you looking for? And he said, well, I think we should put in there some personal stories.